Welcome to the presentation of the SSHRC Doctoral Scholarships. This presentation was recorded by the Faculty of Graduate Studies at Brock University. In this presentation, the following will be discussed: program overview, eligibility criteria, and application overview. The SSHRC Scholarship Program offers two types of competitions. The first is the SSHRC Doctoral Fellowship, or PGSD, which is valued at $20,000 per year for up to 48 months. The second is the Joseph Armand Bombardier Canada Graduate Scholarship, or CGSD, valued at $35,000 a year for 36 months. Both are offered through one annual national competition. If eligible, SSHRC will consider your application for both competitions. Most Canadian universities receive a quota indicating the number of students they can nominate for the national competition. Please visit our website for that quota. To be eligible to apply for a SSHRC doctoral scholarship, an applicant must be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada at the time of application, intend to pursue full-time graduate studies and research at the doctoral level in an eligible program, not have already received a doctoral level scholarship from one of the federal granting agencies, have completed no more than 48 months of full-time study in a doctoral program by December 31st of the calendar year of application. To avoid applications being declared ineligible, ensure that your research falls under the SSHRC mandate by consulting the general guidelines for the eligibility of subject matter at the SSHRC website. Applicants working in research areas where boundaries overlap are advised to state clearly in the applications why they believe their proposals are appropriate for support by the agency to which they are submitting their application. You may request an assessment of eligibility by sending a copy of your research proposal to SSHRC. Results of the eligibility review will be communicated by email. Applicants should be advised to explore funding opportunities at CIHR and/or NSERC while their proposal is reviewed for eligibility, in order to ensure that deadlines are not missed. Please note, SSHRC does not permit appeals on grounds of subject matter eligibility. The agency has developed a simplified workflow to clarify where applicants should submit their application. Please be sure you are selecting the correct option. If you choose incorrectly, your application may be deemed ineligible for the competition. Print the instructions before you start your application, as these provide detailed information as to what to include in your application. To find the instructions to the application, simply click on the icon under the grant type for the appropriate program name. To submit your application, you must complete all required sections of the application. As of June 2018, all applicants are asked to self-identify their age, gender, Indigenous identity, and status as a member of a visible minority group or person with a disability. Completing the self-identification form is mandatory, but for each category, there is an option for "I prefer not to answer." Choosing not to self-identify will have absolutely no consequences to your application. Before we proceed to the eligibility criteria, let's discuss Indigenous applicants. Universities now have the option to submit applications from Indigenous doctoral applicants above the given quota. For those who would like their application to be considered for submission beyond the university's quota, are asked to select the option for self-identified Indigenous applicants in the application profile section of the application. This information will only be visible to university officials with access to the SSHRC online system. It will not be shared with the selection committees and is considered confidential. Indigenous applicants may complete an allowable inclusion to explain any circumstances that may have had an impact on their academic or career paths, such as cultural or community responsibilities and/or challenging socioeconomic contexts. Please note, applications involving Indigenous research will count towards the university quota unless the applicant has also selected the option to have their application considered for submission beyond the quota. A complete application consists of your SSHRC CV, the online SSHRC Doctoral Award application form, your application profile, your program information, areas of study, a 2-page maximum of your research proposal, a 5-page maximum for bibliography and citations, all post-secondary transcripts along with a copy of each legend, a 1-page allowable inclusion if applicable, 2-page maximum for research contributions, relevant experience and activities, justification pages for supplements and joint initiatives, and your invitation to complete a letter of appraisal by your referee. When writing an allowable inclusion, you should also make note of any special circumstances that may have resulted in a delay or interruption in completing your degree requirements. A leave of absence may be due to professional career, maternity and parental leaves, illness or health-related family responsibilities. And again for this year, the agency has included pandemic to the list of special circumstances that you may cite as having an impact to your research and academic trajectory. Be sure to explain how COVID-19 prevented you from continuing your research. Please be sure to specify the dates for any delays or interruptions. If there are gaps in your research or in the timeline of your studies, be sure to be upfront and honest. Eliminate the guessing game for the reviewer and the adjudication committees. The evaluation criteria is utilized to assess your application by both our internal adjudicators as well as the adjudication committee at SSHRC. Your application will be assessed on 50% on researchability and potential, and 50% on relative experience and achievement obtained within and beyond academia. The research proposal is a maximum of 2 pages and must be submitted in an attached PDF file. In your research proposal, be sure to describe your program of study. Use clear, plain language. Avoid jargon, acronyms, and highly technical terms. Only one proposal may be submitted. Explain the significance of your project, but also make your proposal clear for those who will be reading it. State your objectives, hypotheses, and methodologies for your project. Provide background information and state the significance of your work. Be as specific as possible, as you have a limited space to communicate your proposed work. Write the proposal yourself. It is okay to seek guidance and feedback from your supervisor, but the research idea must be yours. Again, be clear and concise. Convey your ideas to the reader so they are excited for the work you plan to do. Each application has 2 reviewers on our internal adjudication committee. The first reviewer is someone who is most knowledgeable for reviewing the content of the proposal. The second reviewer, we ask that they read the proposal for clarity and your ability to communicate on the subject matter. At the national level, your application will be reviewed by a multidisciplinary selection committee, whose expertise cover a broad range of areas in your field. You may want your proposal to be understood by a general audience. If you are not currently enrolled in a doctoral degree program, clearly state your current level of study. Give the title and a brief description of your master's thesis, if applicable. Identify the degree program which you will pursue, including any relevant courses, and provide an explanation for your choice. And provide an outline of your doctoral thesis proposal, including the research questions, context, objectives, methodology, and contribution to the advancement of knowledge, and your special interests in the proposed area of research. If you are currently enrolled in a doctoral degree program, clearly state your current level of graduate study. Indicate what stage you are at in your thesis project. Provide the name of your supervisor of doctoral studies. Provide an outline of your thesis proposal or research project, including, for example, the research question, context, objectives, methodology, and contribution to the advancement of knowledge. And finally, describe what you hope to accomplish during the award tenure and what will remain to be done before you obtain your degree. Research contributions, relevant experience, and activities. Attach a PDF copy of your research contributions, including any knowledge translation outputs, as well as a description of your relevant experience and activities. Given the page limits, be selective and summarize information where appropriate. Provide information in two parts. The first, research contributions, and the second, relevant experience and activities. For research contributions, group your contributions by category in the following order, listing your most recent contributions first. Refereed contributions. These include examples of books, chapters, articles in scholarly refereed journals, and conference proceedings. Other refereed contributions. Examples include papers presented at a scholarly meeting or conference, articles in professional or trade journals. Non-refereed contribution. This includes book reviews, published reviews of your work, research reports, policy papers, public lectures, posters, and community products. Forthcoming contributions. When listing, provide the name of the journal or book publisher and the number of pages. Contributions not yet submitted should be listed. Creative contributions. Applicants whose research outputs include an artistic creation may list their most significant achievements, starting with the most recent. Examples include exhibitions, performances, publications, presentations, film, video, and audio recordings. Although it is possible to list research contributions, SSHRC recognizes that some applicants may not have publications or other research contributions to list. The second part is relevant experience and activities. In this section, group your comments under the following two headings: relevant experience and relevant activities. Under relevant experience, describe the research that you have gained through your past research experience, including special projects, honors or master's thesis, and/or co-op reports. If you have relevant work experience, discuss the relevance of that to your proposed field of study and research. Be sure to include any benefits you gained from it. This section may also be used to describe your training relative to your proposed research, such as knowledge gained through lived experience in traditional teachings. For relevant activities, describe your participation in relevant professional, academic, and extracurricular activities, as well as collaborations with supervisors, colleagues, peers, students, and members of the community. This may include, but not limited to, teaching, mentoring, supervising, and coaching. Managing projects, participating in science and research promotion, community outreach, volunteer and civil engagement, chairing committees and organizing conferences and meetings. And finally, participating in departmental or institutional organizations, associations, societies, and clubs. There are strict instructions when it comes to your attachments. Please be sure to have read and followed each requirement, or your application may be deemed ineligible. Text must be single-spaced with no more than 6 lines per inch. Include your name in the page header on every page. The maximum number of pages permitted is indicated in each section of the application. Pages in excess of the number permitted will be removed. All attachments must be in PDF format before they can be attached to an electronic application. Referees should have sufficient opportunity to assess your research ability and potential. One referee should be very familiar with your research and abilities. For example, a current or previous supervisor. And the other should be sufficiently familiar with your research and abilities to provide a meaningful commentary. Please notify your referees in advance that they will be receiving an invitation. Warn them about firewalls and spam filters. Give your referees advance notice and enough time to provide a meaningful evaluation that will support your application. Applicants are required to invite their referees via an automated email generated by the SSHRC online system. Letters of appraisals are to be submitted by referees using this system. Applicants will not be able to submit their applications without both letters. Each referee is allotted one page only. Any additional pages will not be accepted. Be sure to follow up with your referees if they have not completed the online assessment. Many are busy with competing deadlines themselves, so providing them with a gentle reminder is not a bad idea. You will not be able to submit your application until these assessments have been completed and linked to your application. It is your responsibility to ensure your references complete and submit their assessments early enough to allow you enough time to submit your complete application in the research portal before the deadline. No deadline extensions will be given to applicants who are unable to submit because of missing reference assessments. There are also strict guidelines with respect to transcripts. Include all post-secondary transcripts along with one copy of the legend for each. They must be official transcripts issued by the registrar's office. If transcripts are not provided for all programs of study listed on your CV, the selection committee will have less information on which to base their assessment and may put your application at a disadvantage. Transcripts must be uploaded as one PDF file. If you are currently enrolled in a program at the time of application, you must submit a current transcript to show your current registration in that program. If you have an international transcript, please contact the Faculty of Graduate Studies and we can provide you a copy from your student file. Be sure to keep your paper copies of your uploaded transcripts, as you may be asked to provide it for verification purposes. Once the deadline has closed, university adjudication committees will review all eligible applications and from there selects the allocated university quota to be sent forward to SSHRC. If your application is selected as part of the university quota, SSHRC will then hold their own adjudication meeting to review applications from all of Canada. SSHRC will inform applicants of the results via the SSHRC extranet for applicants in April. Here are some tips and suggestions to help you prepare for a successful application. Be clear and concise in your proposal. You have limited space to convey your message. Avoid jargon and remember who your audience is. Avoid repetition. Avoid mentioning the same idea in multiple sections. By doing so, demonstrates your ability to have strong communication skills. Check your spelling and grammar. Have someone read your writings prior to submitting. Ask them to be critical and provide suggestions where necessary. Don't be shy about your accomplishments and achievements. Make your application stand out. Order your transcripts as soon as possible. For those who are Brock University students, you can order your transcripts via your student portal. Remember to provide all copies of all post-secondary transcripts along with one copy of each legend. Finally, reach out to your referees now. Ask them if they are willing to provide you with a meaningful assessment. Give them ample opportunity to complete their assessment, and don't be shy to send them friendly reminders if their assessments are not complete. Should you have any questions, your first point of contact should be the university in which you are currently or will be registered in, or where you are intending to apply to a graduate program. For Brock University, please contact the Faculty of Graduate Studies at graduatestudies@brocku.ca. If you need help while preparing your doctoral award application, you are encouraged to communicate with the SSHRC staff well in advance of the application deadline date. SSHRC staff aim to respond to inquiries as quickly as possible during normal business hours. In the weeks before application submission deadline or peak periods, response times may be delayed. For questions regarding the doctoral awards, contact the research training portfolio listed here. This concludes the presentation of the SSHRC Doctoral Scholarship. Thank you and best of luck.